Maybe you know what I'm talking about, or maybe it sounds like I'm speaking in Greek, but today we are going to talk about why you should always shoot RAW and why you should kiss JPEGs goodbye. Hey guys, my name is Emma, and this channel exists to talk about photography, share stories, and give you encouragement as you live life and delight in all things creative. Today we are going to talk about why you should shoot RAW, and we'll also compare the differences between RAW and JPEG so you can get a better understanding of the two. So let's kick off by describing RAW versus JPEG. They're both file types, but what does that even mean? We're gonna get into that, so let's start by talking about JPEGs. A JPEG is a compressed photo file. So that means the data within the photo is limited. A benefit of this is that a JPEG overall is a smaller file, so it doesn't take up as much room on your memory card or your hard drive. But the drawback is that you pretty much have to shoot it perfectly because your editing capabilities are really limited. Without that extra data, you can't adjust the exposure, you can't adjust the temperature, you have a lot of limitations on what you can do to the actual photo. It might look fine if you get it just right, but if not, you're going to have a lot of limitations. RAW files, on the other hand, are not compressed photos. They have all of the data that they could possibly get from the photos, meaning it is a larger file than it would be if it were a JPEG. But it has significantly more editing capabilities. And so you can brighten and darken the photo, you can make color adjustments, and it's a lot more fine-tuned and precise. It's much easier to recover a ruined RAW photo than it is to recover a ruined JPEG. Also, RAW photos almost certainly need to be edited in specific software that allows you to edit RAW photos, whereas JPEGs can be edited in just about any photo editing software. So you heard me mentioning exposure a little bit. If you overexpose a JPEG, what it does is it blows out the whites, and so everything that's bright in the photo, and sometimes the things that aren't even that bright, get blown out to the color white without recognition. And when this happens when you shoot JPEG, you can't lower the brightness of the photo to get that detail back. It is simply not there. Whereas if you are shooting RAW, you might be able to save those highlights a little bit more, pull them down and save that data. The only issue is that with both JPEG and RAW, if you overexpose, it is harder to get the data back because it might blow the sensor and there just literally isn't even anything there for the camera to have seen because the picture was too bright in the first place. But it goes beyond overexposure. Let's say you want to adjust the warmth or the white balance on your JPEG photo. You want to make it a little cooler or a little warmer so that it looks more natural, the skin tones look better, or it looks a little cozier. If you do that on a JPEG, you have just a little bit less capability. It's going to get very yellow very quickly, or if you cool it down, it will get very blue very quickly. Whereas if it is a RAW photo, you're going to see that it kind of goes through a lot of delineation and it's a lot more fine-tuned in the process. It's not quite this heavy-handed yellow coating, whereas it's much more detailed in what it's doing and it looks a lot more natural. The same also applies to contrast and tone curve adjustments. So when you apply contrast in a JPEG, you have to be very delicate. If you overdo it, it's not going to look very good. It's going to look very heavy-handed very quickly. Whereas if you're editing with RAW, you can do things such as pulling down your highlights, pulling up your shadows, adjusting your tone curve and your contrast, and creating a little bit more depth in the image without completely overdoing it. It allows for much more detailed fine-tuning that overall will make your photo look a lot better. So hopefully this breaks down the difference between RAW and JPEG for you. The next time someone is like, I only shoot RAW, not only will you not be confused, but you will be able to say, yeah, me too. Because you understand what it means and why it's so important to shoot in RAW. So I'd love for you to comment below with the kinds of things that you wish you'd have known early on in your photography journey, with simple things such as JPEG versus RAW, or shooting in Kelvin versus auto white balance. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you like my channel, don't hesitate to subscribe.